Hey gang, congratulations on surviving week 1 of Introduction to Criminology. Let's get rolling right away for lesson 2. Before we jump into what's going to happen this week, I do want to take a second and kind of recap. Mostly because the summer moves at such a rapid pace, it's easy to blow past things. I know summer classes feel like you're just kind of clicking through, everything moves so fast. So let's just take a second, recap what you covered in lesson 1, then we'll roll forward. So a couple of things I want to highlight in terms of what will be important for the rest of the semester. The things that if you're going to bookmark a page or if you're going to jot down a couple of notes, these are the things that you will see again, right? So first of all, the definition of crime that we're going to use for this semester is that crime is human behavior in violation of state, federal, and local ordinances or laws made by individuals in the power, with the power to make such laws. So a couple of key components. It's always human behavior. And it's always in violation of laws that have been established by folks who have the authority to do so. So there's a couple of different things that are at play in there. Your pet cannot commit a crime. Can't happen. It has to be human behavior. And human behavior can be weird as all get out. It can violate all kinds of norms and make you feel uncomfortable, but if it's not in violation of laws, then it's deviant, right? It's not criminal, it's totally deviant. Another piece of that is it has to be folks who have the authority to make those laws. We didn't really touch on it this week, but there are often examples of small militias or small groups of people who will kind of disappear off into the forest somewhere, off into the mountains, create their own community, give themselves their own code of conduct, code of honor. It doesn't really hold up because they don't have the power or the authority to create those laws. They can make their own cool little rules, but it's not in violation of the law. Again, difference between social norms, really important rules established by a group of people, but it's not a crime unless it violates a law established by people who have the authority to do so. A few other things about criminal behavior that you're going to see again and again and again is that it can be useful. Crime can be useful. It can help move a culture forward. It can help push people to think through values and to establish new laws going forward. You read about examples of it being normal. I don't know anybody. I live in Branson right now and drive back and forth to Springfield on Highway 65. I don't know anyone who abides by the speed limit, by the law established by the state of Missouri, the authority to do so. You have to move at a much faster speed or you're at risk. So violating the law in those circumstances is totally normal. And it can even be inevitable. Anytime there is a group of people who have come together to create a society, who have come together to establish rules and laws, there's always somebody. It's human nature to kind of push back against any of those established rules or codes or ordinances. You also talked a little bit in this week about crime has a different context depending on location. There are some things in the Midwest, right, that we have written laws against that people on the East or West Coast, not a big deal. There are things that are violation of the law in other countries that we don't think twice about in the United States. So sometimes the location where you are determines what's illegal and what's not. Think about some of the friends and family that you have that are avid hunters. Those rules don't exist in other places. Think about people in some of the small towns in this area who have exceeded the limit of goats within the city limits. What? I can guarantee there isn't a law about the number of goats within a city limits or chickens within the city limits in larger metropolitan areas. So some of that has to do with the location that you live in. Crime can also be contextualized based on time. There are things that we know to be, there are laws that were in place 20, 30 years ago that we have since overturned. The biggest example of that people share and focus on is the decriminalization of marijuana. It wasn't that long ago when someone picked up with a small amount of pot would face prison time, when now you can use it recreationally in certain parts of the United States. That's a shift in time. It used to be illegal for people of two different races to marry. You couldn't find a judge to sign off on that wedding certificate. You couldn't find a pastor to do that ceremony. But we know now that that's not the case. Those laws have changed over time. The other one is a social context. So people from different backgrounds, people from different perspectives may see a behavior a little differently. That's why we always go back to, what does the law say? That's where you will often find cases that seem like they were cut and dry, going through an appellate process where the person who was ruled against disagrees with that and takes it to another judge at a different level to get a different perspective on that outcome. A couple other things, and then we'll roll into lesson 2. Make sure that you understand the difference between crime and deviance, that sometimes they overlap. There are some human behaviors that we think are totally deviant that are also criminal. There are some things that we view as totally deviant, but they're not against the law. And then just like the example I gave of speeding or even jaywalking, there are some things that are obviously a crime, but everybody does it. It's totally normal. So we don't think of that in terms of deviance. Make sure you understand those two different concepts. And then last but not least, we touched on the two different explanations, big broad explanations for crime. Is it your personal responsibility and your personal choices that drive you to commit crime? Is it your personal responsibility, or is human behavior dictated by social problems, such as poverty, discrimination, corruption? Is it an issue that is bigger than your individual decision? So make sure that you kind of understand all of those concepts before we roll into lesson 2. And then for this week, I'm going to show you what you're working with. So we're going to move me out of the way for just a second and kind of roll through to lesson 2. Please remember that you have to check all of these boxes. As soon as you finish something in lesson 1, mark it off so that it will open up everything that you need for lesson 2. So June 10th through the 16th, you're going to take a look at crime statistics and crime patterns. We'll open up the timetable for just a second. There are some documents I'd like for you to read right out of the gates. Won't take you long. It's, I think, 2 or 3 pages. Your first assignment has to do with calculating crime statistics. This is something that's not due until next Monday, June 17th. So I would read the information, start tinkering with it, but if it takes you a little bit of time, it's totally okay to put that on the back burner. You're also going to spend time looking at 2 different crime typologies, big categories of crime. We're going to look at violent crimes, also referred to as crimes against persons, crimes against people, and property crimes, which is pretty self-explanatory. You have a quiz, again, not due until midnight on Monday, June 17th. So if I were in your shoes, I would read the crime stats stuff first, start working through these worksheets, but if you can't get them finished by Wednesday, set them aside. Do the crimes against persons, violent crime information, do the property crime assignments, and then tackle your quiz. If you need to come back and finish the crime stats on Monday the 17th, that's fine. Just don't spend a ton of time on it. If you have to set it aside and come back to it, it's fine. Make sure that you get your quiz taken first. So, oh, and don't forget, the next little segment of Columbine, you're going to read sections 8 through 17, which translate to pages 32 through 91. Not quite 60 pages, and as you've come to see, those are segmented up in tiny little chunks, so it's a pretty quick read. Let's go back, and I want to show you a couple of things for this week, and then turn you loose. So the crime statistics assignment, there is a video for you to watch, and then you have two different options for completing the assignment. You can either open up the folder and download. I have to mark all of these as done so it'll open for me. Always mark the boxes. I just said that, and then I sat right here and didn't do it. Okay, so the how-to video will show you step-by-step how to work through. This is about a 15-minute video. And then your assignments, you have two different ways you can do that. You can old school it, where you download the Word document and the Excel spreadsheet, save it to a computer, then upload the assignment, email it to me, however you want to do that. Your second option for completing those two pieces is to click the second link, and it'll take you to a Google folder. Inside the Google Drive, you should have 7 individual folders. They all are exactly the same. You just need to snag one, put your name on it, and complete the assignments inside. So there's 7 different folders. If you'll right-click it and rename it, change the name on it, and then it's yours, and everything that you need to complete the assignment is located inside. There are 2 pieces to the crime stats assignment. One is a critical thinking worksheet. You're going to have to answer 2 or 3 questions with 2 or 3 sentence answers. The second piece of it is a spreadsheet that you're going to calculate. You're going to go online to the FBI webpage. You're going to go online to the U.S. Census Bureau and complete the worksheet. So you have 2. And again, you can old school it. You can download things, save it, and then upload them back. Or you can complete it in the Google Drive. The one thing I need you to do is in the assignment link, tell me what you did. You can message me, email me, put something in the assignment itself saying, hey, I used the Google Drive, whatever works. 2 things remaining. The crimes against person is a written summary. It's a written lecture. So everything that you have here is what's going to be required for you to know for any quizzes or assignments going forward. For those of you who want to dig a little deeper, everywhere you see a red word, that's a hyperlink. So if you're reading through and you're a little more interested in stalking, for instance, I've given you a deep dive so that you could go to either the Bureau of Justice Statistics, the FBI. Some of the links will take you to other organizations, Missouri Highway Patrol, so that you can get a little clearer picture of exactly what it is that we're talking about. So I've given you the basic notes, the surface information, but if you want to do a deep dive with any of those, you're welcome to do that. Just click on the links that are available. Lastly, you have property crimes. This is a Prezi lecture again, and the transcript. So you have both of those available. If you want to watch the video and make your own notes, great. If you're going to skip the video and just read the transcript, that's fine too. It's totally up to you. Just make sure that you have the crime stats assignment is finished by midnight on Monday, June 17th, and your quiz due by midnight, Monday, June 17th. And as always, if you have any questions or get stuck, message me through Moodle, email me, text me, whatever, and I'm happy to help you out. You guys have a great week. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.